and she went and she reached out and touched the hem of his garment. I want to talk to you just briefly about reaching out to the master. A lot of times we get this confusion about life. We get this thing going where we forget what God can and will and has done for us. We forget that God sees us through so many tests and so many trials in life. We forget that God brings us out through so many pains and just so many things. And we wrap our minds around the fact that we're just going to suffer for the rest of our life. Well, the woman with the issue of blood, as she was looking around for answers, she went to the doctors. They couldn't do it. She went everywhere. She spent all her money on many physicians. Everything that she had was gone because she was looking for answers, looking for the solution, looking for the healing, not realizing that if she would have just turned to Jesus in the first place. You see, this lady with the issue of blood, she had Levitical issues because by Levitical law, she couldn't be around people because she was unclean. She had financial issues. She spent all she had on many physicians. But the one issue she didn't have was an issue of hearing. You see, she heard that Jesus was passing by. And as she heard he was passing by, she began to go and join the crowd crowding around Jesus. She began to go and join those who were there with Jesus. And she reached out and touched just the hem of his garment. And she was made whole. When she touched Jesus, Jesus knew something had happened. He knew that something had happened. Something had went out of him and did something in somebody else. And when he asked who touched him, the disciples acted like he was crazy. Talking about, Master, you ask who's touching you? You see everybody around you. You see everybody here with you, and you're going to ask who touched you. Let's stop right there for a second. A lot of times folk don't understand that you know when something changes in you. You know when something happens. You know when there's a change that happens in you. The woman with the issue of blood, the change happened in her because she was made whole. But Jesus knew that somebody had been made whole by him. And then sometimes you got to understand, not everybody's going to understand what you know. Not everybody's going to see what you see. Not everybody's going to comprehend that you comprehend that your life is more powerful than just that moment. A lot of times folk are going to talk about you. They're going to try to distract you. They're going to try to tear you down. They're going to try to do everything in their power to knock you down. That's why it's important to know who's around you. You see, the woman with the issue of blood, when she touched Jesus, the virtue went out and she was healed immediately. That is the text. Now let's take a moment and let's talk about this just look unto Jesus. Whenever you are going through, whenever you are facing trials and tribulations, you have to learn to look to Jesus. You see, whenever you look to Jesus, all your problems, all your burdens, all your pains, they will be aligned with the will of the Lord. They will be removed off your back and the Lord will work it out. We spend a lot of time looking for answers, looking for everything around everybody. We have to understand that Christ is working it out for you. Christ is bringing you out of it. But first, you have to acknowledge that he is there with you. The Bible tells us, in all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. The Bible also tells us to look unto the hills from which cometh our help. If we're supposed to acknowledge Christ, and if we're supposed to look into the hills, why are you looking for answers in all the wrong places? Good God. We have to stop looking for our answers on Facebook, our answers on Instagram, our answers everywhere. We go to mama, we go to daddy, but do you ever take a moment and go to Jesus? You see, Jesus, he's done so many things for us. He's blessed us in so many ways. Why would you look everywhere else but unto Jesus, the author and the finisher of your faith, the only one who can do it for you, the only one who's already done it for you? We have to learn that going to Christ is the only way we're going to be brought out of what we're in. We wrap ourselves up so many times in these situations, in these burdens, and these issues that we allow ourselves to forget that Christ is going to bring us through the storm. Christ is going to bring us out, and Christ is going to work it out for us. Now back to this woman. Whenever she heard Jesus was coming, She reached out and she touched his clothes. And immediately the issue of her body had been dried up. Immediately what happened in her was a divine intervention for her life. Jesus knew immediately that something was happening. He said, "Who touched me?" And the woman, first she trembled and she was afraid by some accounts of some of these gospels. But then the disciple said, "Master, everyone around you, you're asking who touched you?" But yet again, he said, "Who touched me?" And she came forth and he said, "Daughter, thy faith has made thee whole." Anybody need to know out there that your faith is what's going to help get you through it? Anybody got the faith to understand that financial situation ain't permanent, that health situation ain't permanent, those situations in your relationships aren't permanent, those situations with your children aren't permanent, that hospital bed is not permanent, that nursing home bed is not permanent, but you got to have the faith to know and believe that Christ is going to bring you out of it. Does anybody have the faith right now, the size of a mustard seed, that can honk a horn, clap a hand, and say, "I've got faith"? You have to understand that your faith is what's going to bring you through it. The woman with the issue of blood, it said she lost all she had, but I can show you and tell you right there that she never lost her faith, because Christ told her her faith made her whole. You've got to have the faith to understand that this situation, this burden, this pain is not going to kill me. I've got to reach out and touch the master's hands. I've got faith to know that Christ is going to do it for me. I've got faith to know that Christ is going to bring me out. I've got faith to know that I'm going to get deliverance from my issues, but first I have to reach out and touch Jesus. You see, we forget that when Christ is at the head of it all, when Christ is in the middle of it all, every burden, every pain, everything that you're facing is already done, is already victorious over it, because Christ has already fought that battle. We talked about it Sunday, that the battle is over your future. You've got to understand that Christ has planned a divine destiny for you, and while Christ has planned it out, the devil has peeked at it, and the main thing the devil wants to do is stop you from reaching that goal. The main thing the devil wants to do is tear you down. The main thing the devil wants to do is to steal, kill, and destroy you. But you have to understand, every battle you're facing, everything that you're going through has already been won. The battle is won. You are a victorious victor and not a victim. So have faith to know that I've already won the battle. I just still got to take the journey. That's the issue we face sometimes. We want the glory, but we don't want to take the journey. We want to go through, but we don't want to have to fight. We want to just walk through everything and think life is all perfect and rainbows. I can come and testify you to right now that as you become a Christian, once you're a Christian, once you've confessed with your mouth and believe with your heart that Christ is Lord, you're going to have some hard times in your life. You're going to face some things in your life. But the key is to look unto Jesus, the author and the finisher of your faith. The key is to look unto Jesus, the only one who can heal your body. The key is to look unto Jesus, the only one who hung on a tree, who they called Calvary for you. The key is to look unto Jesus, the only one who came down from heaven through these generations, and he was abused. He was hung on a cross. He was nails in his hands. Good God Almighty, nails in his feet, a crown of thorn on his head. Gave up the ghost and died, and they put him in a borrowed tomb. The funny thing about that word borrowed, when you borrow something, you're going to give it back. So the soldiers didn't even understand that they were setting Jesus up for his comeback in the beginning anyway, because they borrowed the tomb, and he stayed there in that tomb. Death had a party. The devil had a party. They thought they'd won. But early on that third day, he got up with all power in his hands. He got up with all healing in his hands. He got up with all the power to do any and everything. So no matter what you're facing, I want to remind you, look unto Jesus. Jesus is looking at you right now saying, "My child, why don't you just come to me?" But we have this hard-headed flesh that gets in our way. We have this hard-headed flesh that deters us every day. But the key is to look unto Jesus. Look unto Jesus. No matter what you're facing, whenever that doctor says cancer, lift up your eyes to the hills. Whenever that doctor says you might not make it to see another day, look up to Jesus. Whenever the doctor Jesus says that your child might not make it, your sister might not make it. Look up to Jesus. Whenever you're going through, whenever you can't sleep at night and you're moaning and groaning, weeping and tossing and turning, look unto Jesus. No matter what you're facing in life, I guarantee you, if you just look unto Jesus, if you just call on his name, if you just say, Father, I stretch my hand to thee, no other help I know. If I withdraw myself from thee, wherever shall I go? I guarantee you that he'll reach down and he'll pick you up and he'll dust you off and he'll tell you your faith in Jesus, your faith in me, your faith in what I can do, your faith in what I have done, and your faith in what I will do has made you whole. But first you have to look unto Jesus. Mama can't do it for you. Daddy can't do it for you. Only Jesus Christ can do it for you. Only Jesus can do it for you. Is there any testifiers? Honk a horn, wave a hand, roll down your window, tell somebody only Jesus did it for me. Jesus blessed you this morning. Jesus gave you faith. He gave you protection. He gave you everything. So how dare you not look unto the only one who woke you up this morning? How dare you not look up to the only one who started you on your way? I'm feeling good right now. The time is almost going down. We got about 3 minutes left. But in these 3 minutes, I got 3 things I want to tell you. You got to look unto the Father who sent his only begotten Son into a world not to condemn it, but to save it. Look unto the Son who went on the cross for you, who died for you, who got up for you. And look unto the Holy Ghost who's here with you right now, the Comforter that keeps you in the times of sorrow, that keeps you in the times of joy. The Holy Trinity, the Godhead 3 in 1, who is with you even right now while you out there thinking you big and bad enough to do what you want to do, while you out there doing what you big and bad enough that you think you can do. Jesus is still loving you, still protecting you. So look unto Jesus. Open up your mouth and confess with your mouth. Can believe with your heart that Jesus Christ is Lord and confess him as head of your life. Look unto Jesus. And I guarantee you, when you look unto Jesus, doors are going to open for you. Highways are going to be made for you. Byways are going to be made for you. No devil in hell will be able to stop the divine destiny because you looked unto Jesus, the only one who is planning it out, the only one with the map. Good day and good evening. That's all I have for you. I got to go. I've got to get back down the road, but I want you to look unto Jesus, call upon his name, and confess that he is the Lord of your life, and allow him to lead you wherever he's designed and destined for you to go. Don't let anybody deter you from what God has for you. Let your faith be in action, and let the Father be your guide. Good day, good evening, and God bless you. We got to get out of here.